Hello and welcome back, everybody, to the channel. I am Corey Van Castle Cook, also known as the Bearded Cinephile. Today, we're going to be doing another trailer reaction, and this one I'm super excited for. It's the trailer for Dune Chapter 2, directed by Denis Villeneuve. I remember seeing the Dune film in theaters, I believe, twice, maybe in the theaters, in the IMAX, which is absolutely the format you want to do in 2021. Absolutely loved it. Thought it was a banger of a film. Deserved all the accolades it got. And I thought, as somebody who's a fan of the books, and going back quite a ways for that, 20 something years, read most of them. I think it was a faithful adaptation, as close as they could get. I think some of the casting was absolutely brilliant, especially Timothée Chalamet as Paul Atreides, Oscar Isaac as his father, Duke Leto. I just think it was fantastic. Casting all around, got the move, got the vibe, did a lot of practical stuff. Was really worried because it didn't make a ton at the box office at the time, so I was worried, is this going to justify a part two? Because they clearly split it into two. Thankfully, it did. I was very happy to see that. But now it's arrived. We've got Chapter 2 is releasing later this year, actually on my birthday on November 3rd. So I'm really excited to get into this and do a trailer reaction for Dune Part 2. Sorry, Dune Chapter 2. So let's go ahead and get into it and see what we got.
It's breathtaking.
So glad this is not CGI.
When you see sand here,
Real.
imagine water. If you dive in, you can't reach the bottom.
You dive in.
Yes, it's called swimming.
I don't believe you.
I think their chemistry is going to be great. I really do. And Di's
In the
such a good
shadows
actress.
of Arrakis lie many secrets.
Ooh.
But the darkest of them all may remain.
Florence playing Princess Irulan.
The end of House Atreides.
Such a
My father
vibe.
didn't believe in revenge.
This ball.
What if Paul Atreides were still alive?
Gurney. Ooh. Austin Butler looks great as Fade. Water life. Such a vibe. It's crazy. He's
Have
really.
you ever had a dream about your first ride?
Are they really going to show this in the trailer?
Don't try to impress anyone.
Still God.
You're brave, we all know that.
Oh my God! Here comes the worm. Look at
Simple.
this. Look at that
Be
shot.
direct.
Oh my God. I was wondering how they were gonna. They had a real sad one. I was wondering how they're gonna do this. Oh my God! Look at that.
Nothing fancy.
I understand.
Look at that. That's such a big part of him becoming their Messiah. Oh, nice. The score is so good. Hans is the man.
Never lose me, Paul Atreides. We gave them something to hope for.
Whoa.
May thy knife chip and shatter.
Ah, that fight between him and Fate is going to be awesome. Okay, so it is part 2, not chapter 2. My mistake. Holy crap. Insane. Wow. I mean, guys, what can I say? That just looks truly epic. It really feels like this is just the second half of a whole movie, which is obviously what it should be in this case. But interesting, we didn't get to see Christopher Walken as the Emperor in this, but probably we will for the second trailer. Clearly, Paul in this case is ensconced in the Fremen, trying to become their Messiah, their leader. Really shocked, honestly, that they showed part of the sandworm riding scene in the trailer, because that's such a big part of the story, and it's obviously going to be a huge featured showcase, right? In chapter 2, or sorry, in part 2. So that looks great. So, but a little, I mean, you kind of need to get people a little bit interested back into this. I really have got the feeling that this movie's going to make a lot more money than the last one, just because the last one came out still kind of while we were in the thick of that pandemic and just didn't make as much money. Plus, they were doing a lot of, I think it was a day and date release at the time, but it just seems like such a vibe. Austin Butler looks great as Fade Ralph. I love how they've he's like all white and pasty and got that shaved head. A lot of people are like, why does he look like that? He's from Giedi Prime, which basically is this industrial, almost city-like planet that pretty much has no sunlight anymore. That's why he's looking like that. But and I like Denis Villeneuve said he's a cross between a master swordsman with and a psychopath and like and Mick Jagger, which I think is that's where you need to be on. This just seems to capture. I kept saying, it's a vibe, and obviously the story's fantastic. It's absolutely great, but there is definitely a feeling, a mood, a vibe that you want to bring to Dune, especially when you're coming to a planet like Arrakis, which is this desert planet. And I love the fact that that's what I was going to say is that, and I do not mean this in a negative, condescending way at all, but Denis Villeneuve makes science fiction for adults. And again, that's not trying to be condescending or anything like that, but I think there's room for that sophisticated adult-like science fiction where you don't have to have everything spelled out. You don't have to have everything be goofy or weird. You can kind of just trust the audience to understand the message and what's coming across. I mean, it's such a thick, layered story anyway about the dangers of following manufactured messiahs and what it comes to scarcity of resources and the repression of people and the downfall of dynasties and kind of jihads, all that kind of crazy stuff. It makes me wonder if they're going to make eventually a third film because there's literally like 10 Dune books at this point. But he looks great as Timothée Chalamet looks absolutely great as Paul Atreides. He killed it, I thought, in the first one. But this is the one where he's really going to develop and try to become a leader and whatnot. And I think this one's going to be much more heavily action based, and we're probably going to get some looks at, where it's what's going to, in different planets. But score sounds great from Hans Zimmer. And again, Greg Larson. Not Greg Larson. What's his name? Greg Fraser. I could not think of his name for the life of me. Won the Academy Award for Best Cinematography for this, and rightly so, for Chapter 1, I should say, or Part 1, I should say. And this one looks to be just as good. He could probably pencil him in for another nomination, if not a win, but who knows, because I thought he should have been at the very least nominated for the Batman last year, and he was not. But you need to... this is the time where I think this movie should be made in, just because of the advances, and and Denis Villeneuve does a lot of practical effects, but you're not going to be able to see that too much if we did this like 30 years ago, 40 years ago. And listen, I know people have a lot of attachment to the David Lynch versions from 1984. It's kind of grown on me, but it's very, very boring, and the first Dune was not, and this looks just more exciting and more of the same. I can't wait. I really hope this is as good as the first one. I think it's going to be. I really hope this kind of chain starts kick starts, I should say, a franchise situation. I know Sisterhood of Dune is supposed to be a television show as well. With the writer strike and things going on, who knows? But overall, guys, this looks fantastic. This looks like another science fiction banger from Denis Villeneuve. Can't wait to see what he does next, especially Rendezvous with Rama is his next project. But the cast looks great. Score, cinematography, it all looks solid. And it'll be interesting if there's going to be some parallels from what we see socially now and what we see in this movie, because one of the things about Dune, the book, made in 1965, is almost 60 years old, is I think it's kind of timeless in some of the stories it tells. So I'm so excited for this. What do you guys think? What did you guys think of this trailer? What did you think of my reaction? Go ahead and comment in the comments below. And as always, like and subscribe. So again, thank you very much for coming back to the channel. I am Corey Van Kessel Cook. Again, the Bearded Cinephile. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.